Hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're starting a series, Paulie and I, on the Boston Philly mob wars of the 90s. And every week we're going to pick a character, you know, one of the guys that are involved, either from Boston or Philly. And we're going to give you some kind of bio on them. And this week we're going to talk about GIGI PORTALLA, or GIGI Marino, he went by also. To really help us out tonight on the show, I got a good friend. I actually have GIGI's brother here, Eddie Portalla, who's a friend of mine. And we're going to talk with Eddie. So we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to come right back with Eddie. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you very much.
You know, and you know, I was friends with your brother. And we're just going to go over some of the things that your brother did while he was on the street.
Yeah,
you know, we know that he was accused of the Frankie Salemme hit on Route 1 at the IHOP. And everything that I know about it, I know you know the story better than I do. But what I know about it, I think it was about a half hour after the shooting, they grabbed your brother.
Yeah, he was at the, in Everett at the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And there was two cops that were state police officers that were following him.
Yeah.
The reason why I know that, because I read the transcripts after.
Okay.
It was Trooper Billy McGrill,
Yeah.
who was the one that got George Young from the movie Blow. Undercover, he was also named Trooper of the Year. And then there was another, he was an up-and-coming state trooper, Eddie Troy. So they followed my brothers, and my brother was with Joe Stuniola, Smiley, which is John Maley, and Frank Imbriglia from East Boston. So McGrail said that the reason why he pulled them over because they were outside the vehicle talking after the Salemme hit, and they saw a bulge in my brother's waist. So they said that was probable cause to search them all. So upon searching them, they retrieved two guns, one that John Maley had, but he passed it on to this poor kid, Joe Stuniola, so he took the pinch. And my brother got with the gun as well. But more importantly, on that particular day, at the Kentucky Fried Chicken on the Revere Beach Parkway, was that they found the license plate number of the getaway car on Route 1 Saugus at the Pancake House. So the story has it that the hit that Frankie Salemme pulled up with a BMW, and they shot him from the highway, with a lot of bystanders there. They all went to trial on it. The only conviction on the Salemme hit was Rico Ponzo.
Yes.
My brother was found not guilty on that, or not, inconclusive. And so did the other shooters. They were blaming Lenny Sinibaldi and John Maley. So they're saying there were 4 people in the car, and they said my brother too. But like I said, the only conviction on the Salemme hit was Rico Ponzo.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna end up doing a show on Rico.
Yeah.
But for people that don't know who Frankie Salemme is, let me give you a little more background on Frankie. Frankie's half Irish and Italian, from South Boston. Well, I think originally Roxbury. I don't want to say it wrong. Him and his brother Jackie. He did a lot of work for the mob. Frankie was a bad guy in his day. There was no doubt about that. Frankie was half Irish, and Raymond Petriarca Sr. wouldn't bring him in the family because of that. You know, the old timers, you had to be all Italian.
Right.
Frankie gets made by Raymond Petriarca Jr. when the father dies and the son takes over. He brings Frankie in the fold. When he brought Frankie in the fold, he was trying to use Frankie as a liaison to go back and forth to Boston, to Joe Russo, Vinnie Ferrara, Bobby Carosa. Now these guys didn't like that, because they wanted that power base back in Boston. And Frankie being the liaison, you know, they figured if they cut that out, well, you know, they put Junior in line.
Well, I remember reading the Boston Herald on the front page.
Yeah,
it said Frankie Salemme's the boss. And I think that instigated a lot of other gangsters and said, hey, wait a minute, we're here.
yeah, they're not
Why
that
is
guy.
he on the front page of the
Yeah.
Boston Herald?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that fueled a war against a lot of factions, because there was 3 factions going on, you know.
Well, there was actually 4, because
Oh.
I'll tell you, it was our Salemme faction that I
Yeah.
was with, and the only reason why I signed up with him was because we both have a close friend, I don't wanna say his name
Yeah.
on the show, was with that crew, and I was
Right.
with him. You know, he's the one that actually proposed me into the family.
Right,
You know, we were together working on the street together, him and his family, you know, so, what happened at that point, and actually my father was friends with Frankie, and he ended up hooking up with him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the Luisis ended up with the Salemme faction. In the course of that, going on at that point, I mean, listen, Joe Russo, Vinny, and Bobby were running Boston. There was no question about that. And they didn't want Frankie interfering. And they didn't want Raymond Jr. interfering. They wanted that power back down here. So that's what encouraged that hit, and why they wanted to take Frankie out. Now, Frankie got killed that day. What was that, in '89?
right, yeah, it was 89.
'89. If he got killed that day, none of this would have happened, and the war in Boston would have happened in the '90s.
Exactly. There was too many bodies, the people being
Well-
found dead, it was unbelievable.
Well, what happened, there was our faction,
That's right,
your brother's faction, GIGI had his own
Yeah.
crew,
yeah,
the Champi Romano faction,
yeah,
and the Collegiero had a crew up in
yeah,
Moving.
yeah,
And those 3 factions, we were actually fighting all of them. You know, not your brother really, your brother, my father loved your brother, you know, and your brother was actually working with us, through your cousin Charlie.
yeah, yeah,
You know, that's a while ago, I don't wanna talk
Yeah.
about it. We were making money with your brother.
yeah,
No one had any intent to even go near your brother,
right,
to be honest with you. But your brother was a big tough guy, a capable killer, and
yeah,
I was dying to have your brother on my crew. Your brother was making a lot of money,
yeah,
At
oh
one
yeah,
time.
he was, yes.
you know,
And now he's doing 35 years.
I know.
And I said to him, where did he get you? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Unfortunately, he got the most time out of all of
Out
us.
of all of them, yeah. They claimed that, because he went to trial,
Yeah.
he was the only one, him and John Patty took it to the wall,
Yep.
and they got convicted. But if you remember the first trial, he was acquitted on
Mhm.
most of the charges.
Right.
So they came back and said, well, you know, we're gonna offer you 15 years. And then he had Bobby Sheketoff as an attorney, and Bobby says, listen, give us a better deal, we'll consider the deal, and he said 11 years. And my brother goes, no, you give me 10, I'll do it right now. They didn't wanna budge on 11. He ended up going to trial, and that's the penalty, what happens when you go to trial. You get triple the time. Just like on my case, I got 10 years. I went to trial. I got offered 36 months to 42 months. I rolled the dice, I lost, and I got 10 years. So if anybody decides to go to trial, think of the ramifications at the end, because you're gonna get triple the time. Is it fair? Absolutely not.
No, it's not.
But that's how the federal courts do it. They're like wasting all their money and their time.
Well, in my case, you know, even after they were gonna supersede me with the murder, and we settled all of that,
Right.
and I still could have took the 14 years. But I went to trial, I lost the first time, I got 20.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Luckily, I fell through the cracks with my appeal, and they ended up changing the guidelines, the federal guidelines.
That's right, yeah.
Went back to trial again, and I lost again, but they had to take the leadership role off of me.
Right, right.
You know,
That's big.
Yeah, well, because Joey was involved in the conspiracy, Joey
Right.
Molina was involved in the
Right.
conspiracy, so, you know, we both can't be the bosses.
That's right, and they would hand you, becoming a leader. So it's usually a 4-point enhancement.
That's what I had, you know.
Okay, so I studied law for 1 year at Suffolk, but it's a 4-point enhancement. And, you know, they could say anybody's the boss, and they enhance you 4 points. But it depends what category you are in the federal system.
That's
So you
right.
get category 1, you get category 6. Most people that are in our field are between 5 and 6. and then they go the points down. It's like a chart.
Yeah,
Now, at the time, the guidelines were the guidelines. Now the advisory, but I feel they still follow the guidelines.
well, to a point, I gotta tell you what happened in my second trial.
Right.
What they did, we were all on one case, but they split the two factions up. It was the Luisi faction in Boston and the Merlino faction. You know how the United States versus
Right,
Luisi
yeah, of course,
versus
yeah.
Joey Merlino, because they wanted to hit both of us with the leadership role.
Right,
They got away with it the first time with the guidelines.
right,
When I go back to trial, you know, tapes had come out and they couldn't refute that. And they saw that, so they had to take the 4 points off. The jury decided, they voted on it, and they took the 4 points off.
that's huge, because.
And that was under Judge Young.
Yeah,
You
and
had
I
Judge
had
Young.
William G. Young.
Yeah,
He was involved as a state judge with the Big D rape case.
excuse me.
And he became a federal judge. So he's one of the toughest judges up in federal court at that time. I was lucky, I had Peter Parker, but I had a judge that was very stern. Fair, but stern. And it was nothing for him to give you 10 or 20 years. And when you do federal time, they say, well, it's club fed. Not really.
No.
You're still away from your family. You're out of state 90% of the time. So if you're from Boston and they ship you to Lompoc in California, how's your family going to be able to afford to come and see you every month? They might come once a year. Okay. My brother's been shipped all over the United States. Leavenworth, I visited him. In Leavenworth, I visited him in the one in Ellenwood. Everywhere. He's the Wyatt Detention Center. You name it, he was there. And he's been in approximately 26 years. It's a long time.
It's sad.
And
Yeah.
no convictions of murder. It was all conspiracy. So he got a 35-year sentence. On 35, you have to do 30. So,
Now, time went on, when I found out, one of my guys they had on the trial down in Worcester, with your brother and Anthony all over.
yeah.
And I didn't know I was an unindicted co-conspirator
Oh,
on that case. They were looking for Larry O'Toole to slip up on the stand.
I remember, yeah.
Remember Larry went on the
Yeah.
stand? They were looking to slip up so they could come and grab me.
See.
They couldn't get me and our other friend, you know, in that trial. That's what they were trying to wrap us all up at that time.
Yeah.
So when your brother got picked up, Anthony Champa, Mikey Romano, Paul DeCollegia, they swept them out in one day.
Yeah,
Now everything was wide open for me.
right. And that's when
Everything
you
was
stepped
wide
in.
open.
Right, because they picked all those guys up in
Yeah.
April of, I'm trying to think what year,
Was it 97? I think.
97, that's
Was it
right,
97?
April 1997.
Or 96?
My brother got arrested in Christmas, around a week before Christmas. They
Yeah.
always arrest you a week before Christmas.
Always the holidays, yeah.
Yeah, and he got picked up at the Logan International Airport at 6 in the morning, coming from Arizona. And he ended up staying in. He's never gone in out since that day. But then they picked up 4 months later in April. They indicted him. It was in the front page of the Boston Herald. The title said "Goodbye, fellas." So they had "Goodbye" in parentheses, fellas.
Yeah,
And they had the picture of my brother, the two patriarchs, and Frank Salemme.
yeah.
But my brother was not the lead defendant on that case. He was the fifth one on the indictment, not the first. But yet, he got 35 years. Penalty of going to trial.
That was the shame.
Yeah, and Robert Sheketoff, the lawyer, said to me, you know, out of all my cases and all my years, and he defended the Angelos and all them, he says, this was a bad break for your brother. Should have never got 35 years. And he's still in there. He's the last defendant in there.
Well, I know Anthony Champa, I think Mike Romano too, they pleaded out.
Yeah,
That was the difference in their cases, they pleaded out.
exactly. If they didn't plead out, they'd probably be doing
Yeah.
the same time my brother's doing.
Yeah, they did their time,
Yeah,
God
they-
bless their home.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
did their time, they did it like a man, and they came out. And they're free, and they're doing the right thing as we speak today. Nobody wants to go to jail.
No.
I certainly don't want to,
Mm.
okay? The state police, FBI have too much technology. They have parabolic mics. They could point it to your window and they could hear what you're saying. They have a lot of informants, a lot of sources. It's just, you can't win.
No.
I know that for a fact. If I knew that back then, I would have never been in this predicament.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
But,
You know, what I wanna do too is I wanna talk a little more about your brother, because your brother got a great story. You know, I think his story should be told. And I wanna talk about your father, if you don't mind,
yeah, that's fine.
Eddie, you know, I
Yeah,
wanna
Big
talk
Eddie.
about Big Eddie. And explain to them the path that your brother was on before he took
Okay.
this criminal path.
When we were in high school, we went to Revere High. My both brothers were star football players at Revere High School. I unfortunately wasn't the star player. I was not a great athlete. So my brother and my two brothers decided to take the state police, a civil exam. They got in 99, both of them. They were ready to go to boot camp, become state police officers. They would definitely pass because they were in great shape. And then we had this Proposition 2.5 came in. What that is, they cut the budget.
Yep.
And my brother was cut out, my both brothers. And, you know, my mother, we had a deep secret in our family that me and my brother had a father named Eddie Marino, who was murdered in the famous cafe in South End. He was breaking up a fight between a black woman and a black guy. The black man hit the woman. He ended up slugging the guy. My father was like 6'5", 320 pounds. He slugged him. The black guy said, "I'll be back." Just around closing time, he came in with a .22, shot my father twice in the stomach. He bled to death on his way to Boston City Hospital. Shot the bartender, shot his best friend Lobo, and shot someone else that put him in a wheelchair. It went to trial. The guy got convicted, obviously, but my father's dead at the age of 21. My mother, who's Corinne Santapio from East Boston, had me as a 1-year-old baby. Actually, I was 9 months old. My mother was pregnant with my brother Gigi.
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to us, we didn't know we had another father that got murdered. The father that brought us up, great guy, worked 90 hours a week, took the responsibility of taking over. They had 3 other children after that. I had brothers and sisters. I don't say half brothers, I call them brothers and sisters.
I do the same.
Okay? My father, I call him my father, because he took the responsibility and done more than anybody in this world for us. Okay? But my grandfather, Gigi Santapio, was dying of cancer in 1980, in August, and he told my mother, "Tell the boys." And we had no idea what he was talking about. Because, you know, when you're visiting someone dying in a hospital, they start to reminisce in their past experience.
Oh, yeah.
And he kept saying, "Tell the boys." And I'm saying, "Mom, what is he talking about?"
Yeah.
And then she told us. My brother took the turn. He ended up hooking with the guys in the North End. There's his state trooper's job gone, because he definitely would have been a great state trooper. And my brother Donnie too, that poor guy, never been arrested or nothing. And this is what happened, and his life forever changed us. And me going to college, I went to Suffolk Law for 1 year. I went to Bentley University, which was back then Bentley College for finance and accounting. And matter of fact, one of my classmates, he was an older man, was Raymond Patriarca Jr.
Was it really?
Yeah, he was in my geology class.
Imagine that.
And I never knew I heard of him,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who he was
Yeah.
until he was in my geology class.
Yeah.
And after that, I never saw him. But he did go to Bentley College.
Yeah.
Okay? But that forever changed our lives.
Well, you know, not to interrupt your story,
Yeah.
but your father, Big Ed, had a reputation already at a young age.
Yeah, he was.
And Gigi heard about that.
Yeah.
And now Gigi, your brother, was a big
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. He
tough
had my,
kid.
Gigi
Yeah.
had my father's build, I had my father's face.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just how things just snowballed.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah, once you take that turn, I did it myself, it's
Yeah.
hard to come back from.
it's tough, it's tough.
It really is.
I've been out 11 years since I did my last bid, and thank God, I'm in the car business, I have no problems, doing very well. But it was a rough road.
Yeah.
I just recently lost my 27-year-old daughter. She was, unfortunately, had a drug overdose, cocaine laced with fentanyl. And that same night my daughter died, Bobby Luisi's daughter died. The same night. So here we are, as as parents, mourning our daughters. Both beautiful girls. But I just have to go on, and there's every day I cry with her.
I do too.
It's sad. And I remember seeing on Facebook, I inboxed Bobby, and I said, my daughter died the same night as yours. The toughest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And I wish it was me, not my daughter.
Me too.
But
That's what brought us back together, though,
Yeah.
after all them years, though, Eddie.
yeah,
And
you're
it's
right.
sad, but it did.
Yeah, you're right.
It
Yeah.
brought us back together, and praise God that it did.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thank you.
You're good people. You're brother.
I know. But my brother's gonna be getting out soon. We inherited a condo in the North End, so he's gonna have a good start with $300,000. And I told him to invest in wisely into cars or whatever he wants to invest
Well,
in.
the last time I talked to him in prison, he called me. And,
Yeah.
he said, Bob, because they used to do the construction.
Yeah,
He says, we gotta do something. When I get out, we gotta do. I says, listen, when you get out, we'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll figure out something, we'll all work together.
yeah. I told my brother, things have changed since you've been in.
Yeah,
It's a whole different world. When you're in 26 years, I know when I did the 6.5 years, I was like, what's Facebook? I didn't even know what Facebook was. Hey, what's this texting? I didn't even know. I felt like an idiot. I had my little daughter and my other daughter, Christina and Ariana, text saying, okay, Dad, this is how you do it. I had a flip phone. People go, what are you doing with a flip phone? Well, I don't know how to work that other phone, but I learned.
yeah.
But, you learn. My brother's gonna be coming out in a different world.
Yeah,
It's not the 80s. What happens when you go to prison, everything freezes in time. You go in, 95, you think you're back in 95, but you're not. The world still goes on.
and people don't understand, the woman that you love when you go in prison, you still love them.
Right.
Your
right.
life stops, you go Mars, everything, that's all you remember, that's what you were with.
Yeah.
I was crushed when my wife finally moved on.
Right,
And-
but it
and I-
hurts.
Yeah, of course it hurts. It was terrible, and you just don't realize when you're into how you lose everything,
Yeah, you're right.
and how you lose the time. And now, me and your brother got picked up, we had beepers, and that's how we used to get in touch with him.
PageNet, yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
I used to beep him, he beat me, whatever.
Yeah.
Few times we talked on the street, now we're coming home with all this technology, I don't know how
It's
to work this
unbelievable
stuff.
the technology they have today.
Yeah,
The little kids, 3, 4 years old, they laugh at me. They go, you don't know that? No.
no,
But,
I don't.
I said, well, you know what a payphone is? No, what's that?
yeah.
We grew up with payphones.
Yeah, that's over.
You know what I'm saying? Home phones,
Yeah,
or fax machine,
Mhm.
Everything's technology today.
Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook, everything.
I don't know how to work, I got stuff up on all of them, I just don't really know how to work
I don't
them.
either.
I don't know how to take advantage of any of those
You
things.
know.
Thank God I got Kim over there, because Kim helps me with a lot of stuff, we got KO,
Yeah.
and Paul Tanzo,
Yeah.
he's worse than me with this stuff,
Oh, my God.
worse than me.
All my older friends are the same thing. Eddie, how do you know all this? I learn.
Yeah.
You just learn. I had a flip phone when I first got out for 3 years. They go, Eddie, what are you doing with that? I go, well, I only answer the phone and hang up. No. You can't take a picture with it. You can't download this. You can't. Then my daughter sat with me a whole day, and she's laughing at me because I don't know how to work the Android and the iPhone.
Yeah,
Then finally she says, look, and I said, you know what, let me get one.
yeah.
So I got a phone like that.
These kids don't know, they're coming up on the street, I don't wanna sound like a know-it-all or anything, but they just don't understand what happens to their lives when they go in there.
It's tough.
You don't see your kids grow up,
No.
I've lost relatives while I was in there. It's just terrible, and there's nothing you could do.
Can't do nothing,
You can't do
and
nothing
time
about it.
keeps going, but, you know, like my brother's in Allenwood right now, and he goes, every time I call you, it's a death, you know, because he's in there. He doesn't know. I'm praying he gets out before the 4 years. He does have a lot of appeals, but appeals are appeals, you know.
Yeah, that's sometime a lost hope.
Yeah, it is a lost soul, but it keeps him busy in there typing, you know.
Yeah.
He just, as a matter of fact, today, he told me he had his son had a baby, so he's a grandfather.
Get out of here,
And
really?
they named him after Gigi. You know,
Get outta
Vincent, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he told me today.
Well, he married a nice girl.
Yeah, Gina Scarpa,
Yeah.
you know, from East Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, she couldn't take it, so she said, hey, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you can't blame her. That's
You
why,
know?
you know, I told, when I got to 20 years, I told my wife.
That's a
I said-
long time.
I says, you can't wait for me, honey.
I said the same thing to Karen. I said, I turned around in federal court, go on with your life.
Yeah. You gotta
Don't
tell
wait
people
for
to go.
me.
Yeah.
I had an 85-year-old judge at that time, Judge Laska, Morris E. Laska, and that was my second federal case. And he said, son, you're a young guy. I'm saying to myself, he's 85, I'm 50.
Yeah.
Of course I'm young, right?
Yeah.
And he says, well, you got a 10-year sentence, but you got good time, you got the drug program, even though I didn't do drugs, and you got a halfway house. And you've been in 2 years, so you got 4 years left. I go, sounds good, but I still gotta do the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got switched to Devon's, then I went from Devon's to Colorado, not the Supermax, but I did have to feed those animals, the shoe bomber and all those other guys.
Oh, they're in there.
Oh, yeah, the shoe bomber, Ted Kaczynski, who else was there? A lot of gangsters, actually El Chapo's there too, but not
Oh.
when I was there.
Oh, yeah, he's there
when
now.
He's
Yeah.
there now. The most secured prison I've ever seen in my life. I had to bring the trays down with the guards, and when you walk into the Supermax, it's amazing. It goes down like a ramp. You're underground, and they have a double vestibule, and you can see these guys. They don't get no sun, so their pills, of course, they're like transparent. I'm like, oh my God! And when I'm walking with the guards, I can feel death in the walls. I said, I just want to feed these guys and let's get the hell out.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be like Morton there.
Oh, yeah,
These
it
guys
was-
are like, there's nothing for
There's
them.
nothing for them.
Yeah.
There's nothing for
Yeah,
them.
they're gonna be horrible.
But Colorado was a different experience. I kind of like Colorado. But they shipped me so far out, like the warden said, you're gonna get a nosebleed.
Well, they did the same with me.
Right. That's one thing about federal.
Yeah.
You ask the judge to send you home close, they send you further.
Yeah.
You're better off saying, go me the furthest way, you come home
And
closer.
you know, in my case, they were pissed off with me.
They were pissed off, so they shipped
My-
you all over
my,
the place.
my wife, my mother, everybody, my wife went and bought a beautiful townhouse down in Sunrise. My mother bought a house in Tamarack,
Wow.
and they wouldn't send me to Florida.
See?
They wouldn't send me down there, no matter what they said, you're not going.
Yeah, see, that's, and you know, it's unfortunate, when you're Italian, you just get picked on.
Yeah.
It's just, they think you're mafia, they think you're organized crime. And,
With
you
that
know,
label, I had that on me.
right,
You know?
we're victims of our environment. I
Yeah.
mean, Bobby grew up in the North End.
Mhm.
What do you think about the North End? Okay, it's a bunch of yuppies now, but
Oh, yeah.
back then,
It was all wise guys.
it was all wise guys. Revere, I grew up in the city of Revere. Guess what? We had a drug dealer and a bookie on every corner.
Yep.
We had carte blanche.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was growing up, cocaine was a big thing.
Yep.
You know, cocaine was a big thing. And
I made millions with it. you know,
right.
you know.
I was in jail with George Young. He just recently died from the movie Blow. And I picked his brain, I would say, and he tell me stories. And he was actually a bright guy. And I said to him, George, why did you sell that much coke? You're so bright. You could have done anything you want. He goes, well, what about you, Eddie? I go, yeah, you're right. So we learn by our mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but you know, my thing is you're paying your debt to society by doing jail time. The problem is when you come out, it's more difficult to get a job because they pull a Corey, and that's a criminal record history. It took me 7 attempts to get a job, and I got it at the Auto Mall in Peabody. selling high-end vehicles. To this day, I thank those guys for giving me a job. I made over 100,000, worked 70 hours a week, but I stayed out of trouble.
Yep.
And the toughest time is when you get out, and I think you'll agree, is the first 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it was tough.
Because you got temptation of going back to your old criminal ways. But once you pass that 3-year threshold, you're fine. You know, that's what I find.
Now, I came back up here, 3 car lots. I lasted 2 weeks in each one.
Yes.
Because once they found out who I was,
Yeah, that's, I was
Yeah.
lucky, they were Iranian, so they didn't know who the hell I was.
Yeah.
I said, they better not go on the internet. But,
a Volvo,
yeah,
a Chevy joint in Wakefield, I don't wanna say their
Yeah,
names, I'm not
right.
mad at nobody.
right,
And a Jeep joint in Medford,
yeah,
you know? I'm in there, 2 weeks later, Bobby, we can't have you here.
yeah, see, it's
They
not
get
right.
scared, they don't want,
And we paid our debt to society.
yeah.
We're not a threat to anybody,
Mhm.
okay? I don't think I was ever a threat in society at all. But, you know, when you have the last name, Luisi, Portalla,
It's a thing.
Marino,
Yeah,
and people don't forget, you Google my brother and Bobby, name pops right up in your face. And that, and their cases were a long time ago, it wasn't like it was yesterday. And they still, because of the power of the internet,
yeah,
you're kinda screwed.
yeah. Yeah.
And you get pulled over by police, they're surrounding you with shotguns. Wait a minute, I've been out 11 years, what are you surrounding me for?
Well, I got warned when I came home. I went to visit a friend of ours, and I didn't know the place was under surveillance. I'm home 1 week. I go there Friday. Saturday morning, the state police knocked on my mother's door in the condo in Revere. You know, on the Parkway, that 595.
Yeah,
She lives in
yeah,
that
of
big
course.
building over there.
Yeah,
And I knew right away when I heard that. No, I just felt it.
yeah,
You know, because I went to see this other kid, and you know, why are you here? You know, why am I here? I live here. No, why are you back, Bobby? I was home 1 week. They were already talking about me in the North End.
yeah,
Someone spotted me. That was the end of it.
yeah,
Says you're all over the phones.
see,
You know, and he said, I'm going to tell you right now. The Revere police know you're here now.
see,
Don't have a bat in the car. Don't have a knife, and don't
Yeah.
give them a reason.
yeah,
That's what he told me.
yeah.
That's what he told me.
We used to have a bat and a glove in the car.
Yeah.
It wasn't to play baseball, but that's
Yeah.
in case someone came up behind you.
Well, I always had the duffel bag with the gym clothes and the mask.
Right.
Because you never know who you're gonna pull up
Yeah,
on,
you're
or
right.
what's gonna
It
happen.
was funny, when I first got
Yeah.
home, I was in Home Depot, I won't mention the guy's name, and I see him, I said, geez, I don't know what to say to him, I don't know if he wants to hug me or kill me. He said-
Yeah.
And he hugged me, so I said, oh, that's good then.
Yeah, that's a
But,
good
you
thing.
know, like I said, when you first come out, you're on high alert, but now, I go anywhere I want, I'm not worried about anybody, I just do what I have to do.
You look how good you did for yourself. I'm not doing bad myself, Eddie.
No,
I
you're
can't
doing
complain. And when your brother comes home, we all gotta corral him.
Yeah, you're right, and he
We
has,
have to, because he's
gonna be lost in space, and I
yeah,
told him
and he's
that.
wild, you know.
Yeah, when I visited him in Fort Dix in New Jersey, he was calm. Actually,
Well, we're all calm now compared to what we were, but
Oh,
you know
for
how
him.
your brother is.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, he got a trigger temper.
Yeah.
And
he does.
I told him, you know, when you get home, it's not like the 80s and 90s. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
If you think it's the 80s and 90s, you might as well stay back in there. Because they will be on you like no tomorrow. Okay? After doing 30 years, they're going to say, okay, nobody's going to come up with envelopes, nobody's going to be waiting in line for you.
No,
Just do what you have to do everything legit.
yeah.
What I know now, I should have done years ago. But I was stubborn like you, Vinny, and that's cost me, not only me, forget about me, my kids.
Yep.
You know, every girlfriend I had left,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had 3 girlfriends, boom, gone.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't blame them, a wife,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I wouldn't expect her to wait. You know, I mean, you do the best you can. But you hurt your family, you're not hurting, I don't care about me, you're hurting your family.
That's what they, you know, the repercussions of everything that we do. It's just so sad. You know, my kids, I mean, I love, my son's here all the time. You gotta meet my son. He's a
Okay.
great kid. But he was a little bitter when I got home. And Danielle was too. You
They
know?
do get bitter. My daughter, Christina, said to me what bothered her, when I first went away, for the 3 years,
Yeah.
with Judge Young, I never said goodbye to her. Cause I didn't have the heart. When she was sleeping, I kissed her and went.
Yeah.
My friend Donnie took me to New Jersey, I self-surrendered.
Yeah.
If I had to do it all over again, well, first of all, I would never be in jail, but I would have said goodbye to my daughter, and that bothered her for years. She was, Dad, you just went up and left. I said, I couldn't look at you in the face and say I was going to jail.
They don't realize how hard it is for us either.
Yeah, it's hard.
And, you know, and then I told the kids, I said, you know, I didn't volunteer for this.
Right.
You
exactly.
seen them come up pull me out of the house. You know, I didn't volunteer for it. But their dad was gone all those years.
It's a long time, and he did triple what I did.
I
He
did,
triple.
that one there, I did 14 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, 14
A long
years,
time.
right, yeah.
And I remember when I got the 3 years, there was a couple guys from Charlestown, and they go, I got 10. I go, oh my God. Not knowing years later I'm gonna do 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't get less time, it gets more every time you go in front of a judge. So I learned a lesson with that, and I said, that's it, I'm all done. And
You know, through the years, I don't know how many times, even in my 20s, how many times I got picked up, arrested, I had to get bailed out. But they were all shit things.
right,
And then, boom, they slay me down with this, you know, with this 20 years.
that's a long time.
It was.
It's a
It
long
was. It took a
time.
while for me to adjust to it.
Oh, it's a long, and when I got the 10 years, I remember what the Judge Lasker said, and I said, okay, I'm going to college again. So what I did was I went and taught classes. And I taught credit repair while they were in there. I said, while you're sitting around lifting weights or playing cards,
Yeah.
why don't you fix your credit while you're in here?
Mm-hmm.
All you got is time. And you don't know how many guys wrote me and called me and said, thank you very much, Eddie, for helping me in jail. But guess what? It cost me a violation on probation.
Yeah.
The supervisor release, because you're not supposed to consort with federal inmates or any inmates. But I've gotten about, I would say 20 calls. And I taught credit repair, how to buy a car, how to read a good faith estimate on a mortgage. I did an offer of compromise for a couple inmates. I even did a bankruptcy for a guy, and we won. Because you're in jail, they're saying, okay, where's he gonna pay? He's not
Yeah,
gonna pay us.
exactly.
So you do it while you're in, not when you go out.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys, and it was so funny, the warden said, you got them all writing to the credit bureaus.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why, is that illegal? No, I just think it's great.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's what happened with me. I was teaching, you know, I got a degree in theology while I was
That's
there.
good, yeah,
I wrote a book.
that's
It's
good.
up on Amazon right now.
Okay.
God's Plan Revealed. I taught an advanced carpentry course because I was a
Wow.
developer.
Okay,
They actually went out, the prison got all the tools and everything for the guys.
wow,
So the guys that were going home, I was teaching them how to use a tape measure, how to read a framing square, which is a hard thing to
that's
do.
hard, yeah. don't
And
know
I was
how to do
teaching
that.
them geometry. And I was the GED teacher
Wow,
in that block, you know. So I always did something, wanted to help, you know. And I think that's what got me to get into what we're doing now. And doing
Right.
the show. And when I got out, I had a Christian show on TV for a short
yeah,
time.
I remember
that?
Yeah,
You know, and, I did the radio. So, you know, I think that opened me up to all of this.
right.
Because you know, years ago, Eddie, you know, we were gangsters. We didn't talk to nobody. We
No,
couldn't
no,
share anything.
everything was secretive.
Yeah, now it's like, now I could tell. Not
Right,
everything,
exactly.
but I could tell.
But I'm gonna tell you, but like I said, when I did the time in Colorado, I just taught class after class after
Best
class,
thing to
and
do. Yeah.
I loved it. And the gratification was like, Eddie, wow. I never had to buy a canteen because my locker was filled. Everybody was buying me everything because I was fixing their credit. And there was some guys, like, they said they had no hope getting out because they said, well, I get a criminal record, I can't get a job, I can't get anything. I said, yeah, but if you fix your credit's more powerful. Because most of these guys too, you know what I told them to go get into? How many guys were drug dealers, alleged drug dealers? They all raise their hand. So you know how to sell drugs, right? Yes. Sell cars.
Yeah,
And they go like, geez, I never thought of that. Sell cars.
Yeah.
Get in your own business. You got the credit. You could get the loans to get you could get a floor plan. You don't have to put up any money. All you need is your signature.
that's right.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know how to do that. Oh, what's a bond? Oh, that's a lot of money, $25,000. No, it's $250. Oh, I thought it was $25,000. No. Very simple. It's
Yeah.
very simple. And I had I met a lot of friends out there. I had a guy, he was on ESPN, Mike Ornstein.
Mm-hmm.
He was in for selling Super Bowl tickets at discounts.
Yeah.
Well, not a discount, but he was getting them for free from the players
Mm-hmm.
with the New Orleans Saints. His good friend was the coach, Peyton.
Yeah.
What was the coach's name?
I don't know.
They won the Super Bowl anyway.
Yeah.
So I was with him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What are you in for?" He goes, "Well, I'm only doing 6 months." Oh, okay.
The scalper tickets.
He's scalping
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah,
I couldn't
scalping
believe
tickets.
it.
We used to do that every year in the 90s. We went to a
Oh,
Super Bowl
because you were right in the north end.
and we had the ticket joint
Oh my God.
and we used to go down there. I went to every Super Bowl.
You clean, oh, and nobody could say. I never went to a Super Bowl, so
Yeah.
you're way ahead of me there.
Yeah.
But
I loved it. I loved it.
with Bobby being from the north end, the Boston Garden, before the big dig, you just walk across and he's at the guy. He'd be the first one in line getting tickets.
Yeah.
Great idea, because I knew a bunch of guys say wrestling was big back then too. They'd say, okay,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. I
I
took
want
my
the
kids to the garden.
right, I want the
My
wrestling.
son. Yeah.
The north end guys were cleaning up.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, some of the guys from the old crew, they opened parking lots. Go and park in Boston, it's $35. And they'll squeeze 100 cars. They'll put a thing on in front of it and you put another car, you stack the cars up.
Thank God, because Richard Gambale had the one.
That's right, that's right.
And
That's what I was referring to.
yeah. And I used to park in there for nothing. Well, because
But-
it was
because
rich, you know.
Right, but they were making a killing.
Yeah.
So my point here on the show is be legit. It's not worth it.
It isn't.
It's not worth it. At the time, you're a big shot, you get all the women, you get the money, you got the caddies. The thing was the caddies and the Lincoln Town cars.
I had the Lincoln
When I
at
was
the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the Lincoln Town cars.
Yeah.
So we thought we were big shots and everybody knew who we were. There's Bobby, there's Eddie, there's Gigi, there's the... But where did it get us? We got all jail time. We all got, if we added up all the years that we did, it'd be a
Oh,
century.
forget about it.
You know what I'm saying? So, if you get anything out of the show, just don't break the law.
Don't
You know?
break the law. It's not worth it.
It's not. It's,
It really isn't. And, again, we're talking about his brother Gigi tonight. Look, at 34 years of his life gone.
gone.
Now listen, Gigi was a gangster,
Yeah.
drug
yeah.
dealer. He
Yeah,
did everything. He did everything. This kid,
He did
big
everything.
tough guy. But look where it got him.
Gone nothing.
Look
He-
where it got me. Look where it
Right.
got him.
And my brother was gonna be a state trooper, remember that. And look what happened, the turn for the worse.
Hmm.
Timing is everything in life. You know?
Look, your brother was clipping bosses.
Yeah, I know.
Gigi was out of his mind.
Yeah, he was.
I love him.
He was. When
Yeah.
I visited him, I'd even recognize him.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said to me, "Boy, did you get fat, Eddie? You used to be skinny." I said, "I know, Gigi." I said, "But look at you, you're all gray." But he had more hair than me, though.
Yeah. Oh, is he gray now?
Yeah, he's all
Is he
gray. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot hair, but gray. He's all gray.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he had the hair like me, your brother was all
Yeah, exactly.
puffed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Remember,
know.
he was
pushed back.
in high school. He was king of the prom.
Yeah.
He was all-star football player. Look what happened.
It's funny, I wanted to do a show on Gigi because this intelligent, sharp, educated, this kid was no dummy. You know, once you take that turn from any facet of life, wanted to be a state trooper, and look what happened. You know?
Yeah.
And the first time you pull a trigger, it's all over.
Yeah.
You're just gonna do it again.
Yeah. Once you get away with it once, it's easier the second time.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it gets easier.
yeah.
You know?
My mother's dream was to see my brother free, and she died before he became free. And when
Sorry
I told
about that.
thank you, when he called me and he said, "Eddie, what's the matter?" I go, "Ma's dead." And he broke down on the phone,
Oh,
first time
sure.
ever.
Yeah,
And I said, Judge, her dream was to see you free, to win one of your appeals or something. You know you got robbed, you got 35 years, you got enhanced. Actually, you got consecutive sentences, 20, 10, and 5.
yeah.
Unheard of. Usually it's all one concurrent,
Concurrent, yeah.
but it wasn't in your case.
They just wanted your brother bad.
You know, and they got you, and they won. I mean,
Well,
think
you know,
about it.
It's like anything else, and like our other friend and me, you know, after the 90s when we all got picked up, there were no more shooters around.
That's right, you're right.
Tell me the violence there's been since 2000, since we've all been gone, Eddie.
Yeah,
The mob changed now.
you're right. And I don't remember if you remember Lemon Lou.
I know Lou.
Lemon Lou said at the end,
He passed away too, didn't he?
yeah, he says, Eddie, tell everybody to get a job. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He says, it's over.
Oh, and
It's
Lou
over.
was a street
Just
guy
get
his
a
whole
job.
life.
Just get a job. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Yeah, I liked
him.
him.
I liked Lou.
And he lost 2 sons too. So like I said, we lost our daughters the same night.
Mhm.
Do we want to relive that? It was the worst thing I've ever
No.
went through in my life. You know?
And when you get 30, 40 years in prison, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Everybody's dead to you.
yeah, you're
Where
right.
where you live in New York and they put you out in Arizona. How many times do you think your family could afford to fly out there without the money and the income coming in? Just can't do it,
Can't do it.
you know? I have to thank you so much for
Oh,
coming
no
on
problem.
tonight, Eddie. This was great.
It was my pleasure.
Oh, I'm getting a hug later before you go.
Hey,
You know, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody for watching the show. We're going to continue the series. I got some more interested, you know, guys in Boston. Rico Ponzo.
yeah, I knew
I
Rico
think,
well.
yeah, I know you did. I knew Rico. Actually, that's the guy that I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah, Rico was a very, very dangerous man.
Yeah, he had a problem with me. You knew that.
Yeah,
you
he
know.
ended up dying in federal prison. He was my brother's co-defendant. He was on the run in Idaho for 16 years. We thought he was either in Italy or in Florida, or dead.
Yeah.
And they found him, how they found him, his ex-wife, you know, he's fighting over the children. She's called America's Most Wanted, and they got him.
Imagine that. He's
Over
living
kids.
under an alias,
Yeah,
and he goes to court and fights under that alias thing.
yeah,
to work for the
sure.
cop.
For his 2 kids.
Yeah, yeah.
How smart are we? You know what
Oh
I'm
my
saying?
God.
He would have been still out. But he ended up dying of Lou Gehrig's disease
Yeah, that was
in a
bad.
federal prison.
Yeah. That was
You
bad.
know,
But that'll be probably the next show. Might be on him. I got some other guys coming up from Philly.
Oh,
and,
good.
some Zoom shows. So we'll see. We're gonna go back and forth from Boston to Philly, and we're gonna talk about the '90s because both places were that hot.
yes.
A lot of murders in both places. So
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they'll be
yeah.
interesting shows. You know. So listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.